feel like there's a reason that we're going to move forward. Well, it's probably because it's
Everybody's still talking. Hello. Now that we have your attention, thank you all for coming today. Are you ready to
go ahead? All right, well, we'll get going here. Thanks everybody for coming. Today we're going to go through the normal meeting agenda. We have a guest speaker here today, Adam Orles, the LSS CEO. So once we're going to start off with the wave of kindness, and then we will move into the committee and club reports. And then from there, we'll kick it over to Adam and finish up with questions and answers as usual. So, sound good? All right, let's go ahead and start. Barb, you want to come up?
Hi, I want to let you know that we had 10 waves of kindness for the month of September. And Beth's going to start with the first one.
Okay, our first wave of kindness is for Nancy Gray. Give a hand for Nancy. And this is a big thank you to Nancy Gray on a recent field trip. It was planned that we ride the trolley. She made many efforts to reach them. No trolley. While we ate lunch, it went by. We decided to leave without the ride. We are on the bus, we spot the trolley, Nancy boldly exits the bus and runs to it. We were able to reroute and take the ride, all thanks to Nance.
I ruined my knee on that run. So I had a month it took me to get over it.
Thank you, Nancy. Oh, okay, so we've got, we'll proceed on with the committee reports. We're waiting on the next wave of kindness winner to arrive, and here he is. So, Michelle, are you going to do the announcement?
Brandon is going to do it.
Oh, great.
All right, so this one's for Charles Bishop. After being told there was no liver and onions or liver and onions on Saturday evening, Charles found the liver and onions for us. Monday at the Labor Day buffet, he found more pecan pie for us. He is always going beyond the call of duty for us. We appreciate him every day. Thank you.
Charles, would you like to say anything?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good day.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. All right, thank you guys. Let's go ahead and move into the committee reports. Food committee, Barb.
Good morning. There isn't a lot of new news, but I wanted to say one thing. For those of you who wonder, when your reps ask you for feedback at your neighborhood meetings, I want you to know that part of the structure of each meeting that we have is to have a report from every neighborhood so that all the things, the feedback that you give us, the comments, suggestions, we discuss all of them. As you saw, our chef, executive chef Brandon is back from paternity leave. Yay. Okay, coffee machines and cups. Bring your own cup. I don't know what else to say about people who are taking cups. Also, whoever is unplugging the coffee machine on the second floor, please don't do that. As soon as when you unplug it, it isn't simply a matter of plugging the thing back in. There is a cycle that it has to be put through in order to operate properly. So leave it alone, okay? Reusable containers are being used more and more, and the staff, I think, has a better feel, the serving staff, for that. But what we would ask is when you order over the phone and you're going to use your reusable container, let them know when you place your order so that when your order is filled, it is put in a reusable container. Otherwise, they have to change it out when you come. Let's see, I don't know if you noticed the new toaster we have on the buffet line on Sunday, but that was a request that's been filled. Veterans Day, the buffet is the only food that's being served. So the buffet is from 10:30 to 3. There will be no breakfast or dinner service on that day, Saturday the 11th. Christmas party is the 21st. Reservation only. You need to make your reservation in advance. And tables will be assigned, or you'll be able to choose your table. And you'll be choosing your entree in advance also. Thanksgiving, Christmas Day, New Year's Day, all buffets with reservations to be made at 40 West, not on Touchdown. Any questions? Oh, good. Thank you.
Thank you, Barb. Next, the Employee Appreciation Committee. Carol, are you? There she is, right in front of me. Oh, that's my notes.
A little bit nervous. Can you hear me back there? Am I talking into this right? Okay. It's our time of the year again to show our staff how much we appreciate them for all they do for us, day in and day out. At this time of the year, we can give monetary gifts to them. You all know that we are not allowed ever to give them tips for anything they do for us. This is the time of the year that we can do that. We can give them a monetary gift. They get these gifts. I believe at their Christmas party, there's an extra amount in their check on a separate line. I do have a cheat sheet here. You will find these flyers at various places on the 3rd floor, in assisted living, and memory care, wherever up there. There's 2 up there. The envelopes are attached that you can put cash or checks into. If you're giving another way, by IRA or stock, you'll need to call Becky, and Becky will tell you how to do that. And Becky's number is on the bottom of this sheet. These sheets, I told you, they're in various places, but they may be moving around like the elf on the shelf. So, look for them. The containers, the plastic containers will have little red bells on them, hooked on them, and there may be other decorations also. So, please take a flyer. There are some flyers out here by the elevator today. Please take a flyer. The envelopes, you can put checks or cash in. I think I told you that. And Becky can handle the rest of the things. You can put your envelopes in the drop boxes, the payment drop boxes, or at any concierge desk. And I think that's all I have to tell you today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Carol. Building and grounds.
Just a few things for building and grounds. We've experienced on level 2 and also on level 3 garbage in the trash and garbage chute. It's not like, you know, you put your bag in, goes down the chute. Somebody literally dumped a bag of garbage and trash in the chute, left it in a mess, had to be cleaned up. I don't think we know specifically who that is, but if you happen to know, that person needs a bit of coaching, so feel free. We're in discussion of going grounds about recycle versus all trash. We'll be looking at the economics of what does it cost to get rid of the trash, what does it cost to get rid of the recycle, and what fines are associated with the recycle because we tried to recycle the wrong stuff. So we're working on that. We're in discussion related to electric cars in the garage. Mentioned that last time. We've got to look at what it costs to put a charger in, what the electric cost would be, and who pays for that. Whether LSS wants to have a corporate policy related to electric cars in the garage because of the fire hazard. And all of that may be a moot point because the Town and Country Fire Marshal, as Drew has told us, is not at all interested in having electric vehicles in the interior garage. Safety rails for showers in the locker rooms. We know that there's one in the men's room that has safety bars, one that does not, so we'll be dealing with that. Don't know, we've checked the women's side, but that'll get done, and we'll do what we need to do there. Sauna is still on the way. When we met with Drew back at the beginning of the month, he felt like that it might well be ready to use in January. But if you use it, you will have to sign a release. Landscape replant, part of that's been done, more is to come, and some of it will get carried over until the spring of 2024. Interior lighting continues to be a work in progress, and we'll stay after that. Fire and emergency plans are on touchdown in the community information icon, looking for ways to make it more accessible and more usable. That's all I have in building grounds. Any questions, comments? Yes, Barb?
What about the issue of silverfish?
Don't know about silverfish. I know that they exist, but we don't have a solution for that.
I can comment on it. If you are having an issue with silverfish in your apartment, please contact the concierge so that Steve's Pest Control will come out. If Steve's, after the first treatment, if you're not seeing improvement, would ask that you please continue to contact the concierge. They're here every week. And so continue to request them until you feel the issue is resolved to your level of satisfaction. Because there's in some apartments we've had to do more than just one treatment. It's had to be an ongoing effort. So.
Thank you, Drew. Other questions?
I have a question. What about the mums in the front? They're horrible. They weren't there for 2 weeks until they got started looking bad.
Yeah, I noticed that too, Suzanne. The comment was on the mums, and they're not looking the best. I thought they were looking a little better this morning driving in.
Oh.
Yeah, I think the heat last week, it was a difficult week for the mums. But I think they're bouncing back. So let's see what happens here.
The other mums are pretty,
I just want to clarify a couple things from Mr. Scott's report. You'll hear more about it in your neighborhood meetings probably next month because I shared it with the representative council, but I did speak to our fire marshal, Dan Bruno, and he made very clear he will not approve electric chargers to go in our garage. He said they're writing the code right now that is not going to allow them in commercial parking structures. So any future electric chargers that we have, we're still open to it, but look for that to be at surface level parking. So if there's anybody out there that's still considering getting an electric vehicle, same thing as we've said before, please let us know so that we can work with you on the costs and things like that, where it's going to be installed. The other thing is with recycling. You'll be talking about this in probably your neighborhood meetings upcoming, but I put out an addendum to that proposal that's going to be discussed, and that is that we're always going to make provision for residents that wish to recycle. Okay, and so the proposal that's going around, it's really stated that the question is whether or not we're going to end recycling. And so I wanted to clarify for everybody, we're still going to make a way for you to recycle. It would likely be finding an alternate location from the location that we have today, because today we recycle in all the trash rooms, and we all know, we've talked a lot about the challenges that we've had with that, the fines associated with it. And so recycling can be one of those divisive topics, and I would rather not turn it into a situation where we're 50-50 going at each other over this topic, when maybe the solution is just for us to come up with an alternate location. And so I'll have more discussion with some people that were involved in submitting that proposal, but then also the representative council members over the course of the next week. So I just wanted to make that known too. Thank you. Next, we have the Wellness Committee. Joyce?
Hey, good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
I have one support group that I wanted to talk about, which is the Parkinson's support group. We've been mentioning that we're putting that together, and Beth has almost got it done. So the first meeting, we believe, will be in December, so stand by for an update on that. Then if you look in your Gazette, you will see all of the wellness events, so I don't want to cover those. But I want to talk some really special stuff that Beth has lined up for us. Some of it's pretty interesting. Well, all of it is. What am I saying? It's all really good. On the 7th of November, we have a regional dietitian coming to speak about basic nutrition that's in this room at 11 in the morning. The very next day, in this room at 2 in the afternoon, we have Surviving the Holidays While Grieving. This is LSS Bereavement Coordinator. Now, we've mentioned in the past that it was going to be a grief share and that you were going to watch a DVD. This is not what we're doing. We're not going to have a DVD for you to watch. This is just going to be our bereavement coordinator, I guess, discussing the topic with you. Again, if I didn't say, it's in this room at 2 p.m. on the 8th. The very next day, on the 9th, we have a Zoom for counting carbs for people with diabetes. This is a CCS medical webinar. And even though it says diabetes, it's going to be kind of interesting for people who don't have diabetes as well. One thing that caught my attention was, what's the difference between a portion size and a serving size? That made me think, what? They're not the same. So she's going to talk about that, or he, I guess I don't know who it is. The Zoom will talk about all kinds of stuff you might find interesting. Now, this is only a 30-minute Zoom, and if it goes according to what the last one did, it's 15 minutes of talk and 15 minutes of anybody got a question. On the 13th of November, you should like this one. We have a monthly Zoom class, Zumba, and we're not going to have one in November. Instead, we're going to have line dancing. So line dancing in the round room of 40 West at 3 p.m. on the 13th of November. The 14th of November, the proper way to fall. So all of us who have been falling and didn't know how to do it, they're going to explain to us how we should properly fall. This is going to be Dr. Max Rich in this room from 1:30 to 2:30. And then on the 14th of November, and this is important to me, it's Diabetes Awareness Day, which means on the 14th you need to hug a diabetic, and I will be available.
Thank you, Joyce. Any questions? And the last committee today, Lifestyle Enrichment.
Good morning. Like I do every month, did everybody get one of these beautiful green sheets? Okay, so you know what's going on, and you know where you're going or where you want to go. Vi and I want to thank you again for filling out the survey. We have gone back and looked at the numbers, and that's how we're planning our events. Coming up will be the Danforth Plant Center, Channel 9, St. Francis Slough trip, and we're going to have a WashU speaker here. So those are things that got very high marks when you when you filled out the survey. We just had a speaker from the World's Fair, and I know everybody enjoyed the trip to Crown Candy. I guess there was 2 trips, which worked out very, very nice. But anyway, we just wanted you to know that we have really appreciated the information and feedback you gave us, and we will continue to work on those items that have high priority as far as what you were interested in. Is there any questions? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mary. I was slipped a note and asked to clarify on the electric vehicles. The question was, will we be able to park electric vehicles in the parking garage? And I asked the fire marshal that question, and he said, there's nothing that'll be in the code that will prevent you from doing that. And so our intention would be to allow electric vehicles to be parked in the garage. He said that in his research on it, typically the issue comes when the vehicles are tethered to the charger. And so I wanted to provide that point of clarification. Does that make sense? All right. Let's move on to the club reports. Hook and Needle. Did you guys bring samples today?
No, we didn't.
No samples?
We didn't bring any samples. Judy? No sample? No, but we're having a good time. Yeah, and we appreciate everybody stopping by and, just chatting. That's part of the whole thing with Hook and Needle. I'd just like to say that last year we contributed $7,500 to the employee fund. And this year we will probably exceed that. So that's thanks to all of you who contribute or give us things or make things. That's how it works, and we have a good time.
And thank you to people who still donate. I know there's a few things coming in. I guess the biggest thing that was successful was the Oktoberfest. We had a table out there and they had to move it in, but it was to our advantage. We made over $350 that day. So that was good. Yeah. And I was glad to see the car seat ponchos. I think 6 out of 7 or 7 out of 8 of those sold. So that was good. I don't think right now I can't think of anything new, but I'm sure there's going to be new stuff for maybe Thanksgiving and Christmas. So keep stopping by. Okay? Thanks.
We have new wreaths that were donated, so please stop by and see those. Some of those, 2 of the wreaths we have hanging outside. Also, thanks to people like Ken and others who donate craft items. We've got a lot of trivets from David Garvin who made those, so we really, really appreciate their hard work and their talent. So, thank you.
Hello, I have just a couple quick updates. Sorry about tree decorating on November 24th at 11 a.m. So we'll have the Christmas trees up on the different floors. And so if you and your floor will have the decorations beside the tree. And so if you want to decorate your tree on your own for your individual floor, you're more than welcome to. And then sign-ups for the brass concert will actually be Friday, this Friday at 1:45 p.m. in the mailroom. And then Tom Lawrence wants to play the piano December 24th at 4 p.m., but we'll talk to him about 3:30 p.m. on the 24th of December. Okay, that's all.
Thanks, Beth. Anything from the library club today? Anything new? Anything from the veterans?
We will have, turn it on, helps. There will be a Veterans Day program here in this room, multipurpose room, on Veterans Day, which is Saturday, November the 11th, starting at 9:30. There will be a flag ceremony, a talk by retired Colonel Ann Rogers, which is Ken Winkler's daughter, and there will be the Mason Pointe, the famous Mason Pointe choir, performing patriotic songs. So, looking forward to that. And then there's a buffet, as was mentioned earlier, following that, and reservations are required. So we know how much, the kitchen knows how much food to prepare. So the next meeting is November the 11th, Veterans Day. All residents invited. There will not be a first Monday meeting in November. It will be the November 11th Veterans Day meeting. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Hank. Anything from the workshop club today? Anybody in that group? Finally, the welcoming club. Anything, Mary?
Yes. We have 2 new residents that moved in. I'm not sure that they're here, but if they are, would you please stand up? Sam and Maureen Mazines, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, apartment 358. Okay, they didn't make it. Jean Carney, apartment 224. Well, I'm sorry they're not here, but we do welcome them, and we're glad that they're here.
They're here, they just don't want to know.
They don't understand them.
Carol, go ahead, yeah.
I am sorry, but I forgot one of the most important things, and that is the checks, money, whatever we're donating, needs to be in by the 27th of November. If you bring it in later, it won't be counted for this year's gifts. So thank you, and I'm sorry.
Thank you, Carol. Thanks for the clarification. And we had just a couple other requests. Suzanne, you want to make an announcement?
Okay, hello everybody. It's good to see everybody's faces. A number of weeks ago, Beth asked if I would do a sing-along on Halloween, which is tomorrow. And I thought, I don't know an hour's worth of spooky songs. So my dear husband came up with the idea, why don't you do the Phantom of the Opera? Wow, that's a great idea. So I had the Phantom of the Opera songbook, and our dear Phyllis Sparks did the typing for us. And where it says Christine sings, she put Christine. Where Raoul and the Phantom sings, she put Raoul and the Phantom. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to pretend to do the Phantom of the Opera tomorrow. And I need lots of help. I need lots of men. So even if you haven't been to sing along, please come. It's going to be fun. We're going to do the Phantom of the Opera. And we have 40 copies, and we want to fill the room. So please, please, please come. It'll be lots of fun. Our fun party is tonight, so we still need to do something fun on Halloween. So please come and join us doing the Phantom of the Opera. And, well, okay, here's another thing. It's 4 to 5 normally, but as you notice, the dining room closes at 6. So that doesn't give us long to get our dinner in. So we have changed the time from 3:30 to 4:30. So Phantom of the Opera tomorrow, 3:30 to 4:30 in the club room. Okay, thank you. Thanks.
Thank you, Suzanne. And you don't need talent, right, to show up?
No, I just need people.
Just need people. All right, the last announcement, Sue, I want to speak for a minute, and then we'll turn it over.
Thank you. I just want to thank Drew and all here. We're very fortunate to have all the activities. And I know it goes to extra activities and individuals so that we can actually have resident-sponsored places to go and activities and fun times. And that is totally consistent with the concept of independent living. And we're just look forward to more and more, and thank you.
And Julia just reminded me also on November 1st, we're going to be holding an All Saints service at 10 a.m. and we'll do that in this room. And let's see, while I'm at it, just want to publicly thank Joel Christensen. Joel Christensen, some of you know, has been serving as our interim pastor. I am happy to report that we've made an offer, an accepted offer to a chaplain who will be joining our community. He's currently a chaplain over at Laclede Groves, and look forward to introducing him to you here in the coming weeks. We're still working out the transition timeline, but very grateful for Chaplain Joel and also Chaplain Karen standing there in the back. So thank you guys. All right. We're here now for our guest speaker, the man of the half hour. And I'd like to invite up LSS CEO Adam Marles. He's going to talk to you some updates around the organization.
Good morning. We're going to see if we can find the presentation again. It disappeared. And so we'll see. There we go. Look at that. It worked. Well, thanks for taking some time to listen to me today. It's always a pleasure to be here, even if I only get a half an hour. I always appreciate the opportunity to come and give you some updates about what's going on at a corporate level. Today, we're going to spend most of that time talking about our new organizational values that we've spent a good long while working on through all kinds of different activity. But I'm also going to give you some updates about what's going on elsewhere in the organization. And actually, I want to start there. So you may recall last year, the organization approved a new strategic framework as well as a new purpose statement. That purpose statement is centered in Christ. Together we create places, services, and opportunities for people to live well or to age well with purpose and fulfillment. And the 4 goals I wanted to go over very quickly. The first one is a culture that brings out the best in each other. And there, we took a hard look at our organizational values and our culture. We created a task force of folks from all over the organization, including board leadership, folks from all different locations, all different jobs, people in dining and housekeeping and management and home and community-based services and everything in between, to really take a look at our values and make sure that they were representative of the organization that we aspire to be. And so we'll talk a little bit about that in a minute. But the culture goal in and of itself, the broader culture goal, the idea there is that we want to make sure that we have a culture of trust and respect and collaboration that really embraces the diversity of perspective and lived experience that's going to help us continue to grow and evolve as an organization to serve people better. The second goal is products and services that evolve with changing consumer preference. And that's all about making sure that we are listening to the people we serve and meeting and hopefully exceeding your expectations. And we know that your expectations of us are going to evolve. The things that you, there was no Mason Pointe independent living 10 years ago, but if there was, your desires would have been very different than they are today. And 10 years from now, we expect that they'll change again. In fact, I had a conversation just before I started here about internet and Wi-Fi, and we know we've got some work to do there, and we're doing work there, but 10 years ago, that wasn't so much an issue. And 10 years from now, if it's not lightning fast, we'll probably have an empty room sitting here. So we know that we want to make sure that that's an obvious one. We want to make sure that we are collecting information from you and from potential other consumers to understand what your needs are and expectations are so that we can continue to do that and then evolve our services to make sure that we are serving you and everyone else around LSS the best we can. The third goal is growth through investment, partnership, and collaboration. So we're looking at partnerships. We're investigating affiliation and acquisition opportunities. We're considering expansion to meet different needs in economic and demographic diversity to touch more lives. This is really important to our mission. We want to make sure that we're helping as many older adults live life to the fullest as we can, so long as we're doing the best by the people we're serving today as well. That also means the growth that we'll be able to serve the people who work here better, giving them more professional development and growth opportunities as well, which obviously is really important to attracting and retaining the very best. And then our fourth goal is a sustainable financial future. So we're taking a hard look at our financial reporting systems and our financial planning systems. We're evaluating the way that we work through our investments, and we're really prioritizing our philanthropic work to make sure that donors understand all that we have to offer, all that they can help make happen through their generosity. So that is a lightning fast look at those four goals, and I'm going to circle back to them, or a couple of them anyway, in a couple of minutes. But the real reason for me being here today is to talk about our new core values. So like I said, we had this task force that took information from all over the organization. We surveyed every employee at every location and every service line twice over the past year. Once was all about their values and their expectations of the values that we as an organization hold. And the other time was all about culture and inclusion and belonging. And this task force took a look at all of that data. They did focus groups with almost 200 different people across the organization to make sure, again, that our values are what they need to be for the long term. And what we created were, I think, very actionable, very clear goals or values that we can hold each other accountable to. So those 5 values are: we receive and give grace and faith, we meet you where you are, and we grow together, we give our best, we share ideas, and we multiply joy. And so I want to talk a little bit about each one of them. And by the way, I've gone to every one of our communities and talked to our employees about these values just in the last month. We approved them in August, and so we're in the midst of rolling them out. But one of the things that I hope you hear and feel as we go through these is that none of these are a surprise. None of this is new to who we are as an organization. This is who LSS is and will continue to aspire to be. So that first new value is: we receive and give grace and faith. We receive grace from God. It's a free gift of love to all humankind, and we share that gift freely, trusting with open hearts and minds, not only in God, but in each other. And it means that we need to approach each other with a spirit of forgiveness and healing and humility and acceptance. And faith means trusting with an open heart and an open mind and welcoming others with open arms in generous spirit of service and compassion. So when I've been talking to our team, we've been talking about acting with compassion and hopefulness, engaging with others openly and graciously, and really caring for a person's whole well-being as we look for the best in every person. The second value is: we meet you where you are, and we grow together. And this value is all about recognizing that every person, whether you're a team member or whether you're a resident or client, comes from a different place and stage in life, and we do better when we recognize each other's differences. Everybody benefits from opportunities to learn and to grow in relationships with mentorship and collaboration. And by caring for each other and being willing to walk forward together, we acknowledge that we can grow individually and as teams and as a community where we learn from both our successes and our failures. So we've been talking about respecting the experience and perspective of others, listening for understanding, not just for response, always seeking to learn and to grow, celebrating accomplishments, both our own and others, sharing knowledge to help others succeed, valuing honesty over excuses, and when something succeeds, asking how and why, and when something fails, asking how and why. And whether it's in this example or some of our other values, one of the things that we've really been highlighting is the need for us as an organization to be okay with experimentation and okay with it not going well every time, because we know that we're going to get better through learning from our mistakes as well as through our successes. And so we're really emphasizing that we need everybody in the organization to be okay with that and to embrace that, and when something happens, to show grace if it doesn't go exactly the way that we hoped it did. With that said, we also want to make sure that we give our best, and that's the next value. So we expect that we each bring our best selves to our shared mission. We value the unique gifts and perspectives and lived experiences that have propelled LSS to be the leader that it is today. As a result, we want to make sure that we're not only giving our personal best, but that we're also seeking out best practices that'll help every person that we encounter to thrive. This also means that we accept accountability and responsibility, and we hold each other accountable to make sure that we are being our best together through transparency and through open communication. And so we've been talking about making sure that we're really using our gifts and experiences to serve others, to accept responsibility for our actions, to make sure that we're setting clear expectations up front for ourselves and for others, and when those expectations may not be clear, we ask for help. It means that we're actively creating spaces to give and receive beneficial feedback, and making sure that we're holding ourselves and others accountable for ethical and safe actions as well. The next value is we share ideas. We know that we're at our best together when that's what we do, because we need different views to drive innovation, to find the best solutions, and to fuel growth. So we're embracing a willingness to experiment, to continuously improve, and to always look for new opportunities for people to age well with purpose and fulfillment. So we're encouraging people to be willing to collaborate and experiment, to encourage people around them, to being open to constructive feedback, and also to make sure that we're giving feedback to each other that's constructive. And finally, we multiply joy. Joy matters, and we really like to have fun in what we do, but we also recognize that the work that we do is really important to get right. And so even though we know that joy and fun are not the same experience, we believe that life thrives on an abundance of both. And so we're opening ourselves to moments of joy and intentionally spreading it to others in gratitude and generosity. We're seeking to create experiences where joy grows exponentially, where people can find joy and express it in their own genuine vitality. And so we're striving to see the positive in every situation and looking for reasons to be grateful. We're creating opportunities for joy among those we serve and celebrating when we see someone else living life to the fullest. It also means that we need to appreciate that people experience joy and fun in different ways. And one of the things that I've been talking to residents about when I'm giving this presentation is, yes, these values were really developed for our team members, but we hope that every person who encounters LSS feels that these values are something that they can also embrace and utilize themselves. So those are the values. We're really excited about them. They're going to support the culture that we're trying to build. They're the critical infrastructure. They're going to help make sure we have the culture that we need. They're universal across the entire organization, and I'm really excited about them. The team has really embraced them, and you're going to hear more about that in the future. But I also want to talk a little bit about some of those goals that I mentioned earlier. One of them is the products and services evolving to meet evolving consumer preferences and needs. And one of those examples is a lot of the work that we're doing to help serve those living with dementia. One of the examples that I wanted to share is LSS is the first provider in the region to utilize Tovertafel, which is Dutch for magic table. So every memory support neighborhood that we have across LSS is utilizing this technology. It's not new to service to older adults. It is new to the Midwest. It's been used in Europe for some time. And what it is a projector on the ceiling with speakers that projects images down onto the table in front of people. And for people living with cognitive impairment who sometimes struggle to engage fully, it gives them a way to interact. So there are about 40 games that are installed in this technology, and people can actively interact with the images they see in front of them. So they can push a ball back and forth around a table. They could do things as simple as sorting silverware. They could tap along with the beat of music, or pop bubbles. There's all kinds of different things, and the games change based on people's cognitive abilities. And what this does is it gives people who may not have really positive ways to engage because of where they are in the progression of the disease to engage. It also gives ways for people's loved ones to engage with them and to interact. And so some of the things that we've seen around the organization where we've got this technology is people who, because of their disease state, have come to the point of being nonverbal, have started to talk and to engage again for the first time in some cases many, many months. So really exciting stuff. LSS was actually awarded the Visionary Award by our state trade association earlier this fall for this work. We're really excited about that. The bigger picture around dementia actually is that we have an interdisciplinary task force working to make sure that LSS is best in class in this service area. So we have been very good at this for a long time. We want to make sure that we are, as I said, best in class. And so what that means in part is not only making sure that we are servicing people who are living with dementia in a memory support neighborhood well, but that every person across the organization is trained in supporting people living with dementia. So that means everybody from a CNA or a housekeeper to an accountant who may not encounter a resident living with dementia, maybe ever in their day-to-day. But we want to make sure that if you work for LSS, you understand the people that we're serving, whether they are totally independent or they have some significant cognitive needs. We want to make sure that we are prepared to help everybody. Because whether we're at work or whether we're in the grocery store and we encounter somebody, if you're part of our mission, we want to make sure that we're helping older adults live their lives to the fullest, and that means really understanding the people around us. So that's really exciting work. This work is also being reflected in some of the construction projects that we're doing. One of them I wanted to share with you is kind of right down the road at Merrimack Bluffs in Baldwin. There we are taking what was a 60-bed care center and converting that into a new assisted living memory support neighborhood. And we're doing something a little experimental there. So in the Netherlands, there is a place called Hojewijk. It's a square city block that the government owns and enclosed for people living with dementia who are still able to operate relatively independently but not safely out in the broader community. And so within that square city block, there are parks and restaurants and stores and things for people to do and kind of plan their own lives and do what they can on their own, of their own accord, safely with monitoring and supervision. That has not been replicated in the United States, largely because our government will not pay for that type of thing. But it has spurred some really fascinating results for people living better lives. And so we're going to try a little bit of a microcosm of that at Merrimack Bluffs. So if you go into a typical memory care neighborhood now, you might see a wall painted to be a cafe or a wall painted to be a pet store or something. We're structurally building out that neighborhood. So we're going to have a general store that has a working point of sale system. So someone who lives there can walk in, choose what they want, bring it to the counter, check out, even though there's not going to be real currency. Because if they want to do that, because it helps prompt a memory for them, fantastic. We're going to have a pet store with animatronic pets. We're going to have a florist where people can walk in and engage with flowers. This is an experiment. It's all going to be staffed by volunteers. We think it could become a model for how people can reutilize space to benefit this population. But like I said, it's an experiment, and we're not sure how it's going to go. So demolition on this project just started last month, and it'll be completed sometime midsummer next year. But it's underway, and I hope to have lots of good news to report to you there. Also in the products and services evolution category, obviously there's some work going on here, and that is also to make sure that we are serving people the way that they want to be served. We know that no one has ever wanted to live in a care center. And so we are doing everything in our power to make sure that people can live where they want to live, wherever they call home for the rest of their lives. And so that's part of the work that we're doing here. And there's lots more to come on that as well. I'm sure you may have questions about that project, and we can certainly address them later on. For our growth goal, I wanted to talk about two different things. One is our home and community-based services. So hopefully you know that we have private duty home care offered by LSS. We have Medicare home health services. We offer hospice services. Those services are all available in the greater St. Louis area. Not all of them are available in Illinois, where we have some communities quite yet, but we're working on that. But as part of our growth goal, we're trying to make sure that we serve more people. And home community-based services is one of the ways that we're trying to do that. So we've seen significant growth this year in our home health services. Hopefully you know that in March, we launched palliative care, which we did not offer previously. For those of you who aren't fully aware of what palliative care is, it's a service for people living with chronic conditions where they can still receive treatment for those conditions, but also receive some of the comfort care related to hospice. It's a wonderful service, and I'm really excited that we can offer that. The other thing is we're now offering private duty a la carte at all of our the 4 St. Louis Metro Life Plan communities, and we're going to be launching that service as well in our Lenore Woods campus out in Columbia, as well as in Glen Carbon at our Meridian Village campus by the end of this year. More to come on home and community-based services in time as well. And then finally, this building, which is not yet built, is Crossroads Senior Living at Bevo Mill. So we currently have 9 communities for low-income seniors across the region. This will be our 10th. We received final tax credit funding to proceed with this new development. For those of you who know the Bevo Mill area, this building will be literally across the street from the mill itself. So this will be 64 units of 1 and 2 bedroom apartments. There's going to be a few market rate apartments, but largely it's going to be subsidized and low income housing. It's being paid for through HUD money, through low income tax credits, and through some state and local grants. And this is an opportunity to serve more people. One of the beautiful things about our affordable housing communities is that many of the people who live there will often say, when I talk to them, I've never lived in a place where I felt so safe. And to be able to offer that to someone towards the latter part of their life is such a wonderful gift to be able to provide, as well as for people to just have a really good life. So that's more speaking to our continued commitment to serving a very diverse population of older adults. And so that project, we hope will break ground probably in January. We're waiting on final state approval of the plans, and then it should open sometime in mid-2025. And then last but not least, I did want to mention a few of the things that I think are really cool happening in Mason Pointe, other than the monstrous construction project we've got going on here, which is fantastic. First is the dog park. I love Eagle Scouts, and to have an Eagle Scout come and make sure that we've got the dog park upgraded the way it is wonderful. I guess I would call it artwork. The creativity shown in the construction area with the art on the walls done by volunteers is just a wonderful way to make sure that still feels like a place that's still home. And then the hard work of some of you all in the North Courtyard for that beautification is also something that we're very thankful for. So that's my quick update. I don't know if I took my half an hour or not, but I certainly am willing to answer any questions from any of you on anything that I've said today or anything else you might be curious about. And I think Drew is also going to be open to the typical questions that he may answer as well. So thank you for your time. As always, it's always a pleasure to be here. And if you have questions, I'm happy to take them.
Do you have any update on where we are in the new independent living units in the city?
I have an update that is not an update. So, as you all know, we filed suit against Town and Country in July. It's proceeding. The wheels of justice move slowly, and so we are in the early stages of that process. We have expressed to the Board of Aldermen and the city that we would be very happy to come to a settlement of some kind, and so we're hopeful that they're receptive to that. In the meantime, all we can do is wait and continue with the assisted living component of it. To the extent that people feel compelled to contact members of the Board of Aldermen and let them know that there is still a lot of interest here, and if you have people in your lives who reside in town and country, and encourage them to contact their representatives to express their desire to see the project move forward, that will certainly be helpful as we move forward. I can tell you, I would really like to not have to go through the entire litigation process on this for a whole host of reasons, not least of which is it costs LSS money, it costs taxpayers money, but we are very confident in the strength of our claim. The project was denied without any real basis, and that's not the way land use law works. So we're confident in the outcome. We would strongly prefer to not spend the time and money required to get there through the traditional legal process. So that's the update. Unfortunately, I don't have a whole lot more than that. Sue.
Just a follow-up, it's probably possible for any of you who know people from other wards in town and country, it's probably possible to get the names to all of you here with their phone numbers and individual contacts, so they all hear it. Your 2 people, and our other new ward 4 person is all for it, but it's going to be the other people on the board in wards 1, 2, and 3, and that information can appear for all of you.
Thank you. Yes, there is little question that the more the public talks to the board, the more likely we are to get to a quick outcome that is in our favor. Other questions? Questions for Drew?
I didn't bring the punching bag this year.
With this experiment that you're doing at Merrimack Bluffs, if it proves to be successful, would you want to be replicating that across the different facilities? And having just redone our facility here, what would be the opportunity to do that?
It's a great question. So, yeah, I think the answer is yes. The proof is going to be in the pudding, and so I think we're going to have to see. It's going to take a little while for us to both see if we can sustain the volunteer levels needed, as well as get the outcomes we want. So we're probably talking a couple of years before I'll have the confidence level to say we're going to invest significantly in trying it again. But it's something that I would absolutely be interested in replicating. The reality is the work that's being done here is also a little bit of a set of experiments too. In Mason Pointe, it's more on the technological side than on the structural side. So I'm really excited about one example of that is, I think that we've talked a little bit about Windows to the World. The idea there is we're going to have a space here in that memory support neighborhood where we've got screens mounted on the wall very close together that have kind of a lattice work like a window. And the idea is that when someone goes into that space, it creates an immersive environment where they can be transported somewhere else, even though in their day-to-day life, obviously, safely they cannot go somewhere else. So it could be that we can transport them to the Grand Canyon or to a walk in Europe, or ultimately we would love to make it possible, and I think we can, for them to walk the neighborhood in which they grew up. And so we're going to have additional experimentation going on here as well to try, again, we're trying to figure out how we can help people live their best lives. But yes, ultimately, we want to spread the best everywhere in our organization. Other questions?
When you spoke of the volunteer base and all, is that from the outside or from the inside?
So the question was, when we talk about volunteers for that project, are we talking about internal or external? And the answer is both. We're trying, so we already have literally hundreds of volunteers across the organization from both internal and external folks, but we're trying to bolster that too. We're deepening our, one example is, I'm kind of excited about this. This Friday night, at one of our affordable housing communities, we're having a prom for those not just the residents of that community, but for all of them. And Edward Jones has taken on that project. So their staff is putting it together, they're chaperoning it. And I think that's gonna be a lot of fun. So we are looking for ways to engage with corporate folks in the area, as well as our congregational partners, to find the more volunteers, the merrier. Any other questions? Okay. I will stick around for a while if anybody wants to talk to me afterwards. I'm here, happy to talk to you. So again, nice to see you all and have a wonderful rest of the day.
All right, that's all. Thanks, everybody. 3 minutes early. Adjourned.